Hey guys, it's Shortcakey. How you doing? Hope you're doing good. Today, we're gonna do 20 creepiest homes in America you can visit. Although America is not yet old enough to cultivate a large paranormal history, there are many estates and buildings with gruesome past and lingering spirits. From axe murder scenes to mysterious plantations with devious secrets, I put together a list of the 20 creepiest homes in America that you can visit. Think you can discuss modern-day politics with Abraham Lincoln's ghost? Or join 150-year-old Molly Brown for tea in her Denver home? Let's check out my list and get your proton packs ready. The Winchester Mystery House. The Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California is one of the most bizarre properties in the United States. Sarah Winchester started building the mansion when her husband, gun magnate William Winchester, died. The myth goes that Sarah built the house to channel her late husband's spirit, as well as those killed by Winchester rifles. The 160-room Victorian mansion is riddled with peculiar alcoves and passageways, as well as a few shrines for the number 13. The estate is on the National Register for Historic Places, so take a tour and see what the mystery is all about. The Villisca Axe Murder House. In June of 1912, 6 members of the Moore family and their 2 guests were bludgeoned to death in Villisca, Iowa. The crime remains unsolved, but you can stay in the Moore family's home if you dare to face the spirits that still supposedly haunt there. Lizzie Borden House. The ghastly murders of Andrew and Abby Borden remain unsolved, yet history remembers Lizzie Borden as the likely killer. Although Lizzie was acquitted in the 1892 axe murders, she never returned to her childhood home. Visitors can now stay overnight in the actual room where Abby's mutilated body was found and experience her haunting spirit. The McRaven House. Dubbed the most haunted house in Mississippi, the McRaven House has been attracting paranormal activity since the late 1700s. At least 5 residents have died in the house during its remarkable history, and all 5 are claimed to still reside there. During the Civil War, the McRaven House was a makeshift hospital to Confederate forces, which explains the 11 unidentified bodies buried around the property. The White House. The White House is perhaps the most famous haunted house in America. Paranormal phenomenon has been reported by numerous residents of the executive mansion, including U.S. presidents, first ladies, and various staff members. The most notable ghost, however, is said to be Abraham Lincoln. who has reportedly visited the likes of Prime Minister Winston Churchill and First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt. Lemp Mansion. The 19th century, the Lemp family became well known for its success in the brewing industry. Today, however, it is known for its status as one of America's most haunted families. 4 members of the Lemp family have killed themselves inside the estate, with the latest happening in 1941. The home has turned into a museum and restaurant where guests can take tours of the haunted property. The Amityville Horror House. In November of 1974, Ronald Defoe Jr. murdered 6 members of his family in their Long Island, New York home. A year later, the Lutz family moved in, but left after a month, claiming paranormal activities had pushed them out. The family alleges they saw demonic apparitions, experienced strange odors, and felt cold presences. McRaven Mansion. This Virginia City, Nevada mansion was once the home of Bonanza King John McKay. Guests have reported seeing a phantom pioneer woman and an old colonel roaming the mansion's halls. When Johnny Depp stayed there during the filming of Dead Man, he described being paid a visit by a little girl, all in white. Joshua Ward House. During the Salem witch trials, the infamous sheriff George Corwin, otherwise known as the Strangler, terrorized the men and women of Salem at this site. He is best known for his unusual and devious methods of torture. As sheriff, he was responsible for the execution of 19 men and women. Some visitors claim to have been choked by the ghost of Corwin, while others have reported seeing a disheveled young woman who may or may not have been one of Corwin's victims. LaLaurie Mansion. The LaLaurie Mansion, built in New Orleans in the early 1830s, has one of the most horrifying histories on this list. Madame Delphine LaLaurie was a notable New Orleans socialite, and she was known for the wicked mistreatment of her slaves. However, the extent of her mistreatment was unknown until a fire broke out in the estate. When officials arrived at the residence, they found a torture chamber inside LaLaurie's attic, where many disembodied and mutilated slaves were found. Investigators later found the bodies of many slaves, both children and adults, buried around the property. With a history as grisly as this one, the LaLaurie Mansion is undoubtedly haunted. The Myrtles Plantation. The Myrtles Plantation has been haunting Louisiana since 1796. The legend goes that a young slave who wished to cure her owner's sick children accidentally poisoned them, resulting in her being hanged. Her ghost is now said to haunt the property, and there's even a photo lingering around the internet, supposedly showing the spirit. Glensheen Historic Estate. Elizabeth Condon was a wealthy woman who lived on the impressive estate in Duluth, Minnesota, until her murder in 1977. She lived alone in the mansion with her nurse, who was also murdered. While police have never found the killer, Condon's ghost is said to still haunt the premises. Some have even claimed to see her in the window of the room she was murdered in. The Whaley House. The Whaley House has been called the most haunted house in America. Located in San Diego, people have been claiming ghost sightings since the 1800s, when this property was built on the execution grounds of the infamous thief of Yankee Jim Robinson. At least 6 members of the Whaley family have died inside the home, and their ghosts are said to still linger around. The house now operates as a museum, so go check it out for yourself. The Farnsworth House Inn. Located in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, the Farnsworth House Inn barely survived the bloodiest battle of the Civil War. There's over 100 bullet holes in the building's side. The site now operates as a bed and breakfast, so skeptics can investigate the supernatural action for themselves. And here we have Boone Plantation. Another haunted plantation on my list. Boone Hall is one of the oldest operating estates in the country. Located just outside of Charleston, South Carolina, Boone Hall has been growing crops for over 330 years. However, that isn't the only thing that the estate is known for. The spirit of a Confederate soldier has reportedly been felt by many visitors throughout the years. Bell Witch Cave. The Bell Witch story is the source of many popular myths today. The Blair Witch Project, for example, was based on the phenomenon surrounding the Bell Farm. The Bell Witch is said to have haunted the Bell family until John Bell's death in 1812, when she supposedly disappeared into a nearby cave. Even the tenacious Andrew Jackson reportedly left the premises because of mysterious threats. You can visit the Bell Witch Cave during the summer months and October for a guided tour. Summerwind Mansion. Summerwind is a ruined mansion in northeastern Wisconsin that was built in the beginning of the 20th century. According to the legend, owners Arnold and Ginger Henshaw were so tormented by the spookiness that Ginger attempted suicide, and Arnold experienced a mental breakdown. Brickdale Lodge. The Brickdale Lodge opened its doors in 1870, originally as the command post for the Grover Lumber Mill. Nestled in the Santa Cruz Mountains, Brookdale is home to some freaky paranormal activity. 2 young girls drowned on the property, and their ghosts have been seen by many visitors since. According to some psychics, there are over 49 souls who haunt the lodge. Molly Brown House. The unsinkable Molly Brown lived in this Victorian mansion in Denver for many years. While nothing murderous or sinister happened in the home, Brown and her husband, JJ, are reportedly often seen strolling around their property today. Staff members and visitors have reported smelling JJ's cigar smoke, despite a non-smoking policy on the grounds, and seeing a woman in a Victorian dress who looks just like Brown. And last, the Sultans Palace. Another frightening residence in New Orleans is the notorious harem of horror, or Sultan's Palace. Apparently, a Turkish sultan escaped to New Orleans in the 1800s when he and 37 of his guests were found dead inside the French Quarter mansion. The tale goes that assassins were sent from Turkey to kill the Sultan and his harem. Today, the owner doesn't experience blood dripping from the walls, but she definitely agrees that there is a supernatural presence around. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this list. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Leave a like and comment. Don't forget to subscribe and share. Love you guys. Smooches and hugs. Mwah.